Hey there, everybody. Andy here from Legendary Tales, and welcome to Tales of Legend, a tabletop role-playing game for your worlds, your heroes, and your stories. Thanks for being here today. Today we're going to take a look at the hero sheet in Tales of Legend. We're also going to talk about what each aspect of the hero sheet does, and together we're going to slowly build a level 1 hero together. Thanks for joining in. Now let's begin. We are going to start by opening the free sample rules that can be found on the Legendary Tales RPG website. We go to the Downloads page and click the Tales of Legend Sample Rules link. It's the first link on the list. And here we are. These sample rules are available for you completely free. It gives you all the rules for hero creation and combat, but doesn't have most of the options. For that, you would need to buy the full rules from the shop page. But we have everything we need here to make a hero up to about level 5 or so. Here on the first page, you get some information about game system terminology, the 4 aspect points, and rolling dice. Your characters are called heroes, friendly NPCs are called allies, and enemy NPCs are called foes. The Game Master is called the Legend Master, and when you are being challenged, those scenes are called scenarios. They are called encounters in most popular tabletop games, but I think a scenario can easily encapsulate puzzles and skill challenges as well. This is especially true if you're going to go into turn-based mode, and we will talk about that a little later. If you didn't see my first video introducing the system, you might want to check that out to learn more about the aspect scores and aptitude dice. But as you can read here, your hero is determined by 4 aspect scores: physicality, grace, focus, and skill. When you try to succeed on a challenge, you roll a d20 and add the appropriate aspect score to the roll. This is called an aspect roll. For example, if you are trying to jump and swing from a chandelier, the Legend Master would ask for you to make a grace aspect roll. You roll your d20, and then add your grace score total to the roll. The Legend Master will come up with a difficulty for the task in their head, and if you meet or exceed the difficulty, you succeed. Let's say the Legend Master determines the difficulty of the chandelier swing to be about 10. Let's say that you have a 2 in your grace score, you roll a 9 on the d20, you then add the 2 of your grace score to the roll, and your total is an 11. You succeed and dramatically swing across the room. Now let's say the swing requires a big jump first, and has a high chance of failing, so the difficulty was actually set to 15. You would fail and fall flat on your face. But what if you had aptitude in grace rolls? In that case, you also get to add a roll of your aptitude die to the result as well. So, you rolled a 9, you added 2, and it was only a roll of 11. But if you also rolled your aptitude die, which let's say is 1d4 because you're level 1, maybe you could get lucky and roll a 4. That puts your total to 15, and by the skin of your teeth, you just made your jump. The other type of rolls are called accuracy rolls. These d20 rolls have to do with attempting to deal damage to foes. But it works similarly. Roll a d20, add your aptitude, if you can, and the appropriate aspect score modifier. We will go over more of these rules in the next video, so for now, let's move on to page 5, which details aspects of the hero sheet. You can find 2 versions of the hero sheet on the download section of the website, just under the rules. For this, we are going to download the modifiable PDF, which is the 4th option on the list. This will allow us to modify the hero sheet directly on our PC without needing to print anything out. Now, using the hero sheet and pages 5 through 7 in the free rulebook, I'll go over each aspect of the hero sheet. Then we can start building a hero. Okay, so we have a spot for our hero's name. I'm not feeling very original today, so let's go with Andy's first hero. There. And we will, of course, be level 1. Now, the whole point of the first page of the hero sheet is to give you all the information you would want to know while exploring, socializing, or going through non-combat skill challenges throughout your game. The second sheet is more focused on combat, and the third and final sheet is where you list all of your bonuses and magic, if you have any. So on the top here, you see Heritage, Backstory, and Aptitude die. Heritage is sort of like race, ancestry, or species that you would see in other RPGs. But in the case of Tales of Legend, it's a bit more broad. We will talk about that more in a second. Backstories give you aptitude in one aspect, as well as some training in specific tools and gear. We will be there soon. Speaking of which, over here are your 4 aspect scores. Now in Tales of Legend, we don't have classes. Instead, we pick bonuses based on these aspect scores. So this top quadrant becomes really important. And then down here, we have our aptitude die. I'll go ahead and skip ahead here and put the aptitude die for a level 1 character, which is 1d4. Oh, by the way, notice the little circle we have in the same section as the aspect scores? This isn't just to look pretty. This is a spot to place your aptitude die, so you'll remember to use it. So while I'm playing the game, I've set my d4 there, ready to be used. Down here, we have our purse, supplies, and gear. Purse is the amount of currency you have. Use whatever currency system you want, but I personally can't stand conversion of copper, silver, and gold, so I go with round numbers. For simplicity's sake, I'll say gold for now, but the currency will be up to your Legend Master. Supplies are really important. Each supply has basic rations and first aid in it. This is how you rest and recover in Tales of Legend. If you want to take a break, which is a 10-minute short rest, you expend 1 supplies. If you want to sleep for the night, you expend 3 supplies. No supplies, no resting, no recovery. So, it gets its own spot. It's pretty important. Your gear covers all of your weapons, armor, tools, and anything else you find around the world that you want to add to your inventory. And over here on the right are your skills. Now, there are 4 aspect points, but skill is different from the other 3. When you need to make a skill roll, you can't just universally add your skill score to any and all types of skills. Your hero would be too good at too many things then. So when you put points into skill, you gain skill points every time you level up. So let's say I put 1 point into skill at level 1. That means I have 1 skill point. And I can distribute that among any of the 7 skills. So let's put it into detect. Great. Now when I try to notice something, my Legend Master won't say make a skill roll. Instead, they would say make a detect roll. And when I roll my d20, I add 1 to the roll. So there are actually 10 options for aspect rolls in this game. Physicality, grace, focus, and each of these 7 different skills. We will go over all of those in a future video. Training senses and languages is a catch-all for the types of gear you can use, any specific notes you want to take about special or magical senses you might have, and making any notes about languages. It's important to note that Tales of Legend does not have a list of languages, because those are setting specific. Languages are not a feature in this game, but a part of your character's history. So if I made a character and I wanted to be an elf, I would just talk to my Legend Master, and we would decide together that not only does my character know the common tongue, but the language of the elves as well. Speaking of your hero, the Who Am I section is where your creativity shines. In a game of no classes, you are free to flavor your hero how you want. You can decide what you look like, how you dress, what you did before you became a hero, personality quirks, and or anything else you think is relevant. I know we don't give you any guidance for this in Tales of Legend, but this is part of us getting out of your way. There are a ton of amazing guides and YouTube videos about building the flavor of your character. So, Andy's first hero. A scrawny boy growing up. He made a living in his small village by hunting game in the forest. He has dark hair and eyes, and has a shy personality. He is a regular human in his early 20s now. He is not well educated, but knows his way around the wilderness, and is really good with a bow. Good enough to start with, and more importantly, it gives me the character concept I need to start building my aspect points here in a bit. Alright, I think it's time to start making the hero. So now we're going to start referencing the rules. First, heritage. In the free rules, we only have one heritage option, mortal. There are 10 options total in the book. Heritage take a slightly different spin than with other RPGs. Mortal isn't necessarily human. It is a much broader category, allowing your Legend Master to drive the flavor of their world. Mortal simply means one of the normal, sentient humanoids of whatever your world is. This isn't just humans. Maybe dwarves, elves, halflings, and gnomes all fit into this understanding of mortal, depending on the lore of your world. As a result, it makes a great default heritage with heritage bonuses that match that potential. We can see here that mortals get 4 heritage bonuses as they level up. The first 3 are the same. You get 1 additional aspect point. So I'm going to go to page 3 here on my hero sheet and record +1 aspect on my heritage bonus list. Now let's take a look at backstories. Considering that my hero is going to be good with a bow, I think it would make sense that I give myself a grace backstory. This will give me aptitude and grace rolls, which have to do with accuracy, balance, and speed. Now, unlike other RPGs, I get to pick a name for this backstory. There are some suggestions, but I think I'll just go with Hunter. I'll put Hunter as my backstory, then I'll go over to Grace and add 1d4 under it. This is where I place if I have aptitude or not. And as a reminder, I tell myself that my aptitude is 1d4. So now, anytime the Legend Master tells me to make a grace roll, I will roll a d20 and a d4 together. We also get gear from our grace backstory. We get the options for some weapons or some gold. Considering my hero concept, I'm going to go with the third option, a small weapon, a heavy bow, and 20 arrows. Give me a second while I record these things in my gear section. Now, I also get 3 tools of my choice. Most stuff in an RPG doesn't have mechanical value, it's for roleplay. And that's true in Tales of Legend as well. But tools are specific mundane items that actually provide a mechanical bonus. As a result, you have to have training in order to use them. I use the word training loosely. For example, you don't actually have training in something like a signet ring. But by selecting a signet ring, you would have to have a reason to have and use that legitimately. So instead of just buying a ring, you choose a signet ring at hero creation, and the quote-unquote training is that you are a noble or a con artist that has reason for having it. In my case, I'm going to go with an animal trap, compass, and medicine bag. I could see these things being useful for a hunter, so it makes sense that I would have and know how to use these things. By the way, there are certain things that you automatically get as a level 1 hero, regardless of your backstory. This is called your Traveler's Gear. The details are mentioned on page 22 of the rules. In it, you have sturdy clothing, boots, a cloak, backpack, sleeping bag, mess kit, water skin, the ability to start fires, a small shovel, and a knife. You also get a tent, rope, lantern, fuel, and 25 supplies. These items are expendable and can be replaced, but the last 5 pieces of gear have specific mechanics that can also be found on page 22. Finally, every hero gets to start with 1,000 of whatever the currency is called. Not only that, but you have the option at hero creation to expend some of this money on items found on page 12. For me, I think I'll spend some money on an elixir of restoration and call it a day. You never know when you need a healing potion. Let's assign aspect points. We already have 1 in skill, but if I'm going to be good with a bow, I should probably put some in grace as well. Let's take a quick look at the hero development table. It says here that we have 3 aspect points at level 1, but we also get an additional aspect point from our mortal heritage, so 4 total. We also have an aspect maximum of 3 at this level, That means that we can't have any more than 3 aspect points in a single aspect at level 1. So this works out well for me. I'll just put the 3 other points in grace. Now when I make a grace roll, it will be d20 plus d4 plus 3. Pretty good. The last thing we need to do is record our aspect bonuses for this level. We have 4 aspect points, 1 in skill, and the other 3 in grace. That means we can select 3 grace aspect bonuses from the grace list and 1 aspect bonus from skill on page 11. I'm going to select Agile Fighter, Dodge, and Ranged Fighter from the grace bonus list. And then I'm going to select Experienced from the skill bonus list. I'm going to go over how each of these aspect bonus choices affect my hero in our next video, where we will also be going over the second page of the hero sheet and how our hero will engage in combat scenarios. I hope you will join me for that video. If you're enjoying these tutorials, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, taking a look at our website at legendarytalesrpg.com, and joining our Discord server. I'd love to talk more and maybe organize a one-shot with you. I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, everybody.